Okay, this is the installation guide on installing red leather R-Spec 2013 Genesis Coupe seats into your car if you wanted to replace whatever you have. I currently have the base model, so I have the black cloth, and so I'm going to be replacing it with these that I got off of eBay that come off the 2013 R-Spec cars. So I've got the complete set, 2 front seats and the back seat. So let's get started. Now we're going to change the back seats. To start, first we want to pull on the lever here so that we can lay the seat down. And then we go ahead and lay the seat down. And the first step, well, rather, the next step is going to be to remove, you're going to peel the carpet off the back here, and there's a bolt right there, and there's one on the other side as well. And we're going to unbolt those, and that is all that's holding this seat, seat back rather, to the rest of the car, and we just pull it right out. Once you remove the bolt, I just want to show you one example. It would be easier with the seat laying down. Just push down on it so that the hook will release itself from the seat and pull forward. And as you can see, well, it's difficult to do with one hand, but the seat will come out from one corner and then just repeat on the other corner, and you can just take the seat right out, the seat back. Okay, now for the bottom of the seat, there's 3 things you have to do. On each side, right under the where the passenger would sit, it's a little bit of a clip, so you're gonna have to put your hand right under it and just simply pull straight up. As such, I've already loosened the other side, so they both pop up, and then you'll see right here is a bolt that you will need to remove in order to release this back part that's holding the seat in place. And so once you remove that, and then just slide the seat right out. Just a little bit of footage with the seats out, how it looks like. You can see some of the factory leftover goodies like plastic, bits of rubber bands here and here. And so, you know, just various access to different parts of the systems. I don't know which one is for the fuel tank or the evaporator system. I have no idea. I'd have to look it up. But anyway, so we're halfway there. If you feel like taking the plastic off, if you still have the plastic on these, go ahead. I'll just leave mine. I don't really care. So now to put in the bottom of the seat from the R-Spec next. Okay, get the seat in there lined up. Make sure you get this connecting rod here lined up to where it's pointing in the right place, and the holes will match up. Don't get it perfect right this moment, but go ahead and make sure that all your brackets here along the way, you can feel for them underneath just to give an idea that they are where they need to be. And then once you align the clip brackets here at the bottom, for example, just go ahead and push down on them and they click into place. And and make sure that your seat belts, seatbelt buckles actually come up from the place, the respective holes, and then simply line up the bolt and reattach and rebolt down this piece. Okay, now again, you bring the seat back inside the car, and what you want to do is underneath the bracket, just go ahead and push down, get the seat wedged in there, and once you let go, the cushion actually pushes up on it to where it will hook itself here into the actual latch, and then just repeat on the other side as well, and then put the bolts in. Best to do it hand tighten first, just to get a guide in there, and then finish off with a ratchet. Once you get the bolts in place and you tighten them down, just make sure that you are able to shut the back side of the seat back rather. Just don't forget, like I did, and leave the seat belts hanging from behind, because you'll have trouble closing it. Now here's a little bit of a knob here for an emergency latch, I suppose, or a convenience latch, so that you can lay it down, which I didn't know this car had until I did this mod, and so closes without any issue. Let's take a look from far off. Very nice. Maybe I can get rid of that glare off the lens. There we go. Fantastic. Looks good. Now on to the front seats. And now for the front seats. As you can see, I have black interior, cloth interior rather, and we're going to be changing the front seats now. I've already done the back seats, as you can see, and so we're ready to move on to the front seats. Basically, at this point, what you want to do is disconnect your negative battery terminal so that the power can discharge. It's a safety precaution since these seats are equipped with airbags, and you don't want to have any kind of situation, which really I don't think it ever happens, but you know, just err on the side of caution. So what you want to do, first step, is take off these plastic covers here, and they're going to cover the bolts, as you can see right there. I've taken one off. And so basically just take some kind of pry tool that is used for interior trim and just get it wedged in there, pop it off. It just pops right off and no problem. So just move it off to the side. And what I'm going to use, I have a air compressor, so I've got air tools that I'm going to use to remove these bolts, and it's size 14 millimeter. So I'm going to use an air ratchet here, and we'll go ahead and get that started. Let me get connected and we'll get started. Okay, once you have the bolts out, oh, and I forgot to mention, actually, before you get started, the best thing to do is to put the seat all the way in its forwardmost position and then have it latch on the first tick. I forgot to mention that, but you want to do that. Apologize for that. Now, after you get the bolts out, go ahead and move the seat track all the way to the back position. Actually, be sure to get all your tools out of the way. Okay. And that way you can make some space. So you can get the other two bolts in the front, but the other two are not covered, so you just go ahead and proceed to unbolt them. Once you have the two bolts removed, now it's easy to just simply lean the chair back so you can gain access to all the electronics below. There should be three connectors. One is going to be your, so you're starting on the left, it's going to be your seat occupant sensor. The middle one is going to be the actual airbag signal, and the one on the far right should be your seat belt sensor. So carefully unplug those, and then we'll move on to the next step. I'd like to make one suggestion. As far as unplugging the seat belt connector, this little black tab needs to be pulled out first, and then the connector simply slides out. So just get a little, I wish I could focus here. If you can get a little, about that, I accidentally pushed the button. If you get a little screwdriver and you wedge it in from the top and just pry it out, it'll just click out and then the thing will slide out. To share with you more tips. Each one of these clips is a little bit different. For the seat occupant, there's a little white tab. You can see it sticking out here where my thumb is pointing to at the very bottom. Push up on it as hard as you can, squeeze it, it'll slide out. For the airbag itself, this white tab actually slides back as I'm demonstrating, if I can get focus here. So when it slides back, then you can pull the connector out. So those are the 3 connectors. They're only attached here to this plastic tab. I'm not sure if we can nicely take this off or if it has to be broken. I don't know, I'll see. I could just probably cut it off and then put a brand new zip tie for the new one. So let me investigate and get back. Okay, you'll probably want to go ahead and cut it off. It's too difficult to try to remove. If the other seats already have this part, great. If not, just some zip ties will do. When I get to that part, I'll show you. But anyway, so now it's disconnected. Just neatly tuck this away. I would probably put something over it, like maybe some sheets, just so that nothing scratches it. So just cover up the wire harness and bring the old chair down, and it is ready to be carried out. So just carry it out and put the red one in its place. Just some footage of how the car looks like without a seat. It's a little crazy looking, but you know, just wanted to show it up a bit. And of course, if you have some dirt and things, now would be the perfect time to vacuum, as you can, you know, easily get to all the spots. But for me, it's not a big deal. We're gonna go ahead and put the new seat in now. So I have the seat sitting in there, it's not bolted yet. What I did notice is that the seat was already scooted all the way to the front of the track. I recommend that before you put the seat in, make sure the seat is all the way on the back of the track, because there are pegs in the front that align the seat to the frame of the car. And once they're aligned, it makes it a lot easier to align the bolts. But in this case, if you are in a situation like mine, just simply insert the bolts in and hand tighten just a little bit, just so there's some kind of a guide, there's something holding it in place. And then move the seat track all the way back and align. Well, before you want to align to the front, you definitely want to clip everything in. So just get it in there, get the seat slid back, take the bolts back out, and then tilt the seat, the whole entire thing all the way back, so that you can start connecting the electronics. Another tip for you. Once you get the seat track all the way moved to the back, and you have these pegs that actually line up into the front, in order to get the back bolts off, you need to go ahead and scoot the chair all the way to the front. Actually, no, these won't be needed. So go ahead, and once you have it, carefully scoot the seat track to the front, but make sure that the seat, the leg, and the peg that goes into the hole does not come out, because once it gets misaligned, then it gets kind of goofy and doesn't sit quite right. So at this point, just make sure you put a little bit of pressure down on the seat as you move it forward so it doesn't move. And then take the rear bolts out, and then we'll proceed. Okay? At this point, we went ahead and took the back bolts off. So as you can see, we lifted the seat back just to give you a reference. So now just plug your harness in to the matching locations, and I'll show you about the zip tie portion in just a moment. So take some zip ties like these and simply wrap it around the base of the black wire and put it up through the built-in hole, and just simply zip tie like this. Give me just a moment. Trying to find a place to set the camera here so I can have both my hands. Oops, I put it in the wrong way. Okay, you don't need it very tight or anything, but you just need it enough to where it's there, and then just cut the excess. If you're particularly meticulous, you can put 2 of them if you like, but 1 is more than enough in my opinion. So cut the extra piece, and then we'll get the seat back situated into the car. Okay, just bring the seat back down, flush, line up the peg, make sure it's seated in there. You'll know when you try to move it. And if you did it right, then the holes match up in the back. Put in the bolts, and tighten. Don't tighten too much until the very end. Just tighten it hand tight until you put the other two in the front, and then use your tools to tighten it all the way. Okay, once you tighten with the tool, whether it's an air wrench or manual, you are pretty much finished. That's it. And just repeat the same exact process on the driver's side. Just a little bit of footage of how red leather interior looks on a blue car. Not too bad. I really like it. I think it's turning out very nicely. Only one thing I want to point out with the driver's side that's different from the passenger is that there is no seat occupant sensor on this one. So you don't have to worry about the third plug, but it's only the two seat belt sensor and the actual airbag plug. No seat occupant sensor. Just some footage with the driver's seat missing, just for fun. And once you have your seat in, tighten it all down, and have the little plastic clips, the plastic covers rather, attached. That would conclude the installation of R-Spec seats on a base 2013 Genesis Coupe. And let's go ahead and put the seat forward. You can get an idea of what it looks like from far away. Very nice. I like it. Stepping back. And that concludes the installation. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks for watching.